inviting me. It's a great honor to read in this space, and I'm just really blown away by the two people before me, so excuse me. I'm going to read these 3 flash fiction pieces. I went to New York last weekend and did the first Kundaman fiction intensive, and I wrote this during that week, so they're really raw, and I'll tell you about the process of each piece. The first one is called The Childhood Field No Longer There, and this is a stolen memory, basically. We got into groups, and then someone told me the memory, and then I stole it. There's a story in my family when I was lost. We lived in the house on the lower street, and behind our backyard, lined with a wall of cacti, there was a field of brown and green hills that extended into the distance. Not big hills, small ones. Some were dry, some were burnt. Most were filled with grass and trees, and the blossoms and the flowers were white and beautiful. And I remember peering through the heads of cacti, wanting to see what was behind them, and wanting to roll down the hills. I wanted to play a game my half-brother and father played. They would walk to the tallest hill and roll until they reached the bottom grass, and the sea could be heard in the distance, and sometimes they would roll off the cliff into the sea. My father wouldn't let me play this game. Though I was older, he said a girl ought to be clean, not dirty. He'd give me this look that felt like a stranger, looking to a house crammed with knickknacks and dusty furniture and lit yellow lanterns, and I would look back at him as if I were that old house of rotting furniture and beautiful glowing lamps, and say, "But I want to live again." My father would stay silent, then laugh, and then one day I walked through the slits of the cactuses between their piercing blades, slowly, carefully, and I walked a whole mile through the field and hills until I reached the tallest one next to the roaring sea. I bent my knees, clutched the grass between my fingers. I did not laugh. I placed my palms in a grass and flipped over and rolled down the hill. And perhaps I rolled into the sea. Perhaps I jumped in. Perhaps I was always lost. Perhaps I wanted more. Perhaps I died. Perhaps my father never found me, but he did, and he pulled me back by the arms from the behind. And perhaps he carried me home. Perhaps I never rolled down the hill next to the sea. Perhaps I wanted to make up this story to remember when I was fearless, when I had no fear of change, of cacti and the growing thorns, or the licking, unforgiving sea. So this one is called Fall, and the assignment was to think of someone you really hated, and to write from their perspective, and then to give them your first memory. So, Fall. You call the girl to tell her of the affair, the lies, the half-truths, the catalog of details and dates that the love you had for her now fiancé were true. You paint the picture of Disneyland from 4 years ago, the yellow and blue Mickey Mouse teacups you spun in, him around you, kissing you, the lies that stayed in the belly because you knew he told the girl he was home alone. These were only happenstance, meeting you at a ranch hotel, of him only calling you, of him driving your car. You think of the first midnight meeting on your front porch after the fight they had and how he came to you, wanting. You think of dialing her number because of the Facebook photo of the ring that was tiny on her fingers, barely a speckle, and you saw him in his navy dress whites, that Dixie cap you knew your father once wore, the father that left. And you pick up the phone, dial the numbers you remember from years ago, and a heart that beats against the tank top shirt you are wearing. You take off the shirt because of the heat, because the walls feel like they are closing in. You are heated, angry, ready to scream at the girl, but then she answers, "Hello, who is this?" with that sweet, chirping, bird-like voice of hers that was always more supple than yours, more fluid than yours. And you picture her standing next to the boy, your once lover. You picture her naked, skin so white, beautiful, skin not like yours, dark, rough, dry. And you want to say hello back, you want to bite, to rage, but the voice stops at an octave higher and nothing comes out, not even a fuck you. You collapse on the couch in your Berkeley apartment, tie your hair up in a bun, look at your image in a molten mirror across the room, and hang up, disappointed. Stare at your toes, unpainted, long, ugly, hands covering the face, the body quivering at the weight of a memory that comes during the night when you cannot sleep, and the clock spread like gloves, and the windows open, and the dry heat crowds the throat, and you remember the falling in the first grade, off a baseball stand, breaking the arm, the drop of your body, a dead weight, a discard. Your mother ran to you screaming, "Don't you dare cry, don't." Arm dislodged, arm bent like an L, the mother repeating, don't cry." A child's game. You were playing follow the leader. The girl next to you turned and with her spinning arms pushed you off the opposite side of the baseball stands, and down you fell, and the air rushed past your legs, and you were not a bird, and you were a dark thing falling with hair covering the face, and you fell, broken, limp, a discarded thing, and you remember the mother running to you, Don't be weak like your father, don't cry, no. You still have the phone in your palm, the numbers attached to her phone. You redial. You hear the girl's breath through the white noise. You hear the boy laugh. You hear the asking, "Who is it, my love, my honey butt, pretty girl?" The girl will muffle the sound, laugh back at your once lover, and you are angry. You want to break the girl, her and her beautiful skin, and her perfect relationship with her perfect lover, the lover that was once yours, and she needs to know, she does not know, but you want her to know. You want to reach your arm through the phone, through the white noise, break her ignorance, break her laughter, break her. Destroy the bird-like girl. But you cannot say what you call to say, and you begin to say something, but you begin with a don't, and you stammer, the chest rising and falling, the tears rushing, and don't they? They don't rush. You don't cry. The girl is asking, "Who is this?" "Fuck you," you begin, or don't. You've hung up. You turn on the computer, the limelights glow, flooding the bare room, with a couch as a bed and a desk and books stacked up against the walls. You open the tab to your email and you begin to write a letter to the girl and her lover, your once lover, and you write and profess and you race and fall and begin. Try, fall. So the last one is to write a repressed memory. So it's called What We Can't Remember. Patricia, do you remember when your father told you the story of your Lola's kidnapping? Do you remember how old you were, how young, how scared, how hopeful? Do you remember it was the same day your mother left, her in a car, a beautiful beige Toyota, dolled up with red lips and big sunglasses that reflected the sun and everything you wanted to be? Do you remember that this was just a story your father would tells and retells when your sister is hugging you tight, and you're both wrapped in a blanket and the nights are dark blue. The moon creeps outside, rises above the wall of cacti, screams, "Hello, I am alive." That is what your grandma said, your father reminds you, "I am alive." That is what your Lola cried, your father tells you, when the Japanese in olive suits barged in with bayonets and knocked down the bathroom door and tore up the room and the portraits off the walls and stole the white butterfly wedding dress your grandma treasured and held dear. I am alive. This is just a story that isn't true, a story that is wrapped in the shadows but is suppressed upon your body because your heart, your fingers, your breasts, your skin, your pretty, pretty brown skin, your nails, your tiny feet, your dark black hair, your red, red lips, your lips. They remember the touching. They remember the shouting. They remember the ripped-off butterfly wedding dress. They remember the bayonets and the blood. They remember your Lola yelling, "I am alive, I am alive, I am alive, I am alive, I am alive." They remember her body left on the road, her body exposed, her blood a river, her hair tangled, her skin scarred. Do you feel this story? Have you forgotten it? Your mother left, your father says, because it's just one of those things, like the stolen wedding dress, like the story he tells you to forget your mother's leaving, A knock, my love, people leave because we're just lost, but we always find them. Your father takes you by the hand and tells you to forget the stolen wedding dress. They've always had it. It's in your grandma's room. It's hidden underneath the boxes of clothes and photo albums, and still there. This is just a story. A story to make you listen. A story to make you thankful. A story to make you feel shame. Anak hiya, biwalang hiya. It doesn't matter if it's true. Look, your grandma's right there, standing there by the stove, cooking sinigang and steering with her wooden spoon, laughing, crying, giving you hugs, putting chain locks on your doors that click, click, click whenever she locks you in. I lock you in your room to protect you, because I love you. Who are the neighbors here in America? We don't know them, diba? Do you remember these moments, child? Patricia? Look, Lola's still here, throwing pots and pans whenever she's angry, or beating her chest whenever she has that far-off gaze that makes you wonder. Say, Lola, Lola, Grandma, do you see us? Do you feel our love? It doesn't matter what happened back then. It doesn't count. We're alive. Isn't that what matters? Isn't it? Isn't it? Thank you.
What's our second or you want? We get a lot of second-person narrators.
Strongest taste in the world.